What's up guys, my name is Ace, and welcome back to another gun guide. This is a series where I go into great detail with all of the stats as well as some excellent attachment combinations for every gun in Black Ops 6. And in today's episode, we're finally getting to the Maelstrom Shotgun. And just a quick note, I realize a lot of these gun guides have taken a long time to put together, but at the end of the day, new content always takes priority, and that has pushed my gun guide series back quite a bit. But we're almost there, we're almost all caught up, and let's just dive right into this one with the Maelstrom, and we're gonna start this off with our damage. Now, just like the other shotguns, while we do fire 8 pellets per shot, only 4 out of those 8 pellets can deal damage to a player. And with the Maelstrom, up close, we're dealing 25 damage per pellet, which means the maximum amount of damage we can deal up close with this is exactly 100 damage. So this does have a one-shot kill potential, but it's a very short range, which we'll look at in just a little bit. More often than not, though, it is going to be a 2 or 3 shot kill, and sometimes it will take you more than 3 shots if you're not hitting your pellets consistently at longer ranges. As for a rate of fire, this is 316 rounds per minute, and it's worth noting this is the only full auto shotgun in the game. And what this means for our time to kill potential is with a 2-shot kill, we're killing in 190 milliseconds, which is incredibly fast. You're going to be beating most guns in the game with a 2-shot kill, and therefore generally that's what you want to try to aim for with the Maelstrom. However, when it does require that 3rd shot to kill, it will bump your time to kill potential up to 380 milliseconds, which is pretty slow, but you can often make it work considering the fact that with a shotgun, you don't have to take the time to aim down sight or anything most of the time. You can just start shooting as soon as you see your target. So with that factored in, 380 milliseconds is often still doable, it's just not a great time to kill. As for rapid fire, this will boost our rate of fire up to 333 rounds per minute, meaning our 2-shot time to kill potential is now 180 milliseconds, and our 3-shot time to kill potential is 360 milliseconds. So not a huge improvement with rapid fire, but it does help a little bit. Now let's get into our ranges though, and as I said, we do have a 1-shot kill potential with this, but unfortunately, that's only a 1-meter range. You have to be practically touching the enemy player to get a 1-shot kill, and that's why I say you generally want to try to aim for that 2-shot kill potential as a more realistic, ideal situation with the Maelstrom. I just consider that 1-shot kill to be a pure bonus if you happen to get it. And our 2-shot kill range extends out to 5.7 meters, so you do have to get quite close even for a 2-shot kill. And obviously, raw power-wise, this is the worst shotgun in the game, but it also has by far the highest fire rate. Then for our barrel attachments, with long barrel, we get a 10% boost to our range, whereas reinforced only gives us a 5% boost to our ranges. For rapid fire, unfortunately, this harms our range values by 10%. And then looking at our ammo types, the Dragon's Breath ammo totally changes up our damage profile, and it massively improves our 2-shot kill potential to 23.5 meters. That's incredible, but that's only going to happen against people that aren't using Flak Jacket. And once you start to get out to that range, you're not going to be seeing super consistent 2-shot kills. It's just that you have the potential to get that 2-shot kill. And it does rely on the burn damage after the shot takes place. So it's not going to happen instantly. There will be a slight delay before that person actually dies. So honestly, with Dragon's Breath, I would say it's not horrible on the Maelstrom. It's totally fine to use it, but I just want to warn you that it's not nearly as good as it might look if you're just looking at this chart, because of those other factors that don't show up with this chart, which is just meant to show the potential of the gun. As for slugs though, surprisingly, slugs are actually quite good on the Maelstrom. And it's interesting because I would never use slugs on the other 2 shotguns, but with the Maelstrom, it's actually a solid choice. With this, from 0 to 14 meters, it's a guaranteed 2-shot kill anywhere in the body. And like I said, our 2-shot time to kill potential is very impressive with this at 190 milliseconds, so you'll be dominating most guns in the game, and you just need to hit them twice anywhere in the body there. Then after that, we get a 3-shot kill anywhere in the body, or a 2-shot kill if we can land a headshot in there, from 14 meters up to 20.3 meters. And with that, while our time to kill isn't great, it's still manageable at that point. And then beyond that, it is going to start taking you 4 or even 5 shots to kill to the body. And you definitely don't want to get into those ranges, because at that point, you're just going to be beat out by every other gun in the game by far. But diving a little deeper here, when it comes to the accuracy of the slug, surprisingly, there's actually no bloom or aim down sight spread with this. Every shot that you fire will go dead center on your screen. So that's a big upside, because slugs in many past Call of Duty games, they would have that random inaccuracy and it wouldn't actually go directly where you're aiming it, but it does with the Maelstrom. And if we just hold down the trigger with slugs as well, the recoil is pretty manageable considering the short ranges where you want to be using this. Obviously, you don't want to be getting into that 4 or 5-shot kill range. So as long as you're staying within the 2 to 3-shot kill range, this recoil is totally fine. It kicks basically just straight upward, and there is a pretty big gap between the 1st and 2nd shot fired, but that's just where the muzzle brake comes in, and I'd highly recommend using the muzzle brake if you are going to be using slugs on this gun. And of course, I will be sharing a slug build toward the end of the video. But moving on to our hipfire and pellet spread, we do have the worst spread values in the shotgun category, but that's not surprising since we have the highest fire rate as well. And now let's get into our handling stats, and our aim down sight time is the best out of the shotguns at 290 milliseconds. Our sprint out time is also the best at 190 milliseconds, and it's the same story with our slide to fire and dive to fire times. These are actually better than the other shotguns in the game, so our handling stats are quite good here. And now let's take a look at our reload time. By default, we have a 10 round magazine capacity, and we reload in 1.85 seconds. However, if you want to increase our magazine capacity, Extended Mag 1 will give you 12 rounds and Extended Mag 2 will give you 14 rounds, but both of those will be slowing our reload time down quite noticeably, so there is a clear trade-off there. And this just leaves us with our mobility stats, and across the board, we're pretty much just standard here for a shotgun, and that's not a bad thing. Shotguns do move around the map pretty quickly in this game. So with all of that out of the way, let's get into a few excellent attachment combinations I've got for you guys with the Maelstrom. And the first one I wanted to share is my tac stance build. Tac stance is excellent with shotguns in this game, especially when combined with the modified choke. So we're using the tactical laser and the modified choke, of course. We also have the Ranger foregrip to improve our sprint speed so we can get around the map and close those distances more effectively. We have the CQB grip to help with our sprint out time, slide to fire time, and dive to fire time. So those values are all going to be very fast now. And then we're finally topping this off with rapid fire, just so we can get those follow-up shots off a little bit sooner. And with this, you can see we get an extremely tight tactical stance spread at about 1.3 degrees, so we can consistently get that 3-shot kill. So if we do find ourselves at a bit of a distance and we want to avoid taking more than 3 shots to kill because we're not hitting enough pellets, this is where we now want to get into that tac stance. However, right up close and personal, I'd actually recommend just hip firing with this gun because only 4 out of 8 pellets deal damage, and up close, you should be hitting at least half of your pellets. So you just have to manage that appropriately. And if you do so, this is just a nice, consistent, versatile way of using the Maelstrom. And if you do so, this is just a nice, consistent, versatile way to use the Maelstrom. As for the second build I've got for you guys, this is my Gunfighter build that's geared much more toward just hip firing all the time. So with this one, we're using the full choke, the long barrel, the Ranger foregrip, Extended Mag 1, the CQB grip, the balanced stock, which allows us to maintain high mobility while we're just walking or hip firing. We have the fast motion laser, which helps with our hipfire spreads if we're sliding or diving, and I do like sliding a lot when being aggressive. And once again, we're just topping this off with rapid fire. And with this particular build, we get a very nice hipfire spread at 4.5 degrees. And within the ranges you should be using this gun in, this means you just don't have to worry about aiming down sight with this build at all. And overall, it's just a super easy build to use. Get yourself up close and personal, keep the enemy roughly centered in your screen, and just hipfire. It's as simple as that. And this just leaves us with the final build I wanted to share for you guys, which is my slug build. And I also want to mention, if you're grinding headshot camos still, this is my preferred setup for getting those headshots. So with this one, we're using the Kepler Microflex Optic, the muzzle brake, the long barrel, the ergonomic grip, and then finally the slug itself. And with this, while using the long barrel, our 2-shot kill range, which is the ideal range we want to be using this in, is 15.4 meters. You're going to be dominating within that range. However, within our 3-shot kill range, which extends out to 22.3 meters, we're still going to be at least reasonably effective there. We've got a solid aim down sight time with this at just 250 milliseconds. And with that muzzle brake, like we saw earlier, it's quite accurate and easy to control within the effective ranges of this gun at least. And honestly, like I said earlier, I'm very impressed with slugs on this. I actually quite enjoy this setup. I treat it like a pocket marksman rifle that's only effective out to about 20 meters, but it's got better handling and mobility stats than you'll be able to get with a marksman rifle, with a ridiculous time to kill potential in that first 15 meters. And with that, that's going to wrap it up today's gun guide on the Maelstrom Shotgun. As for my thoughts on this gun, it's pretty similar to the other shotguns in the game. In regular core maps, it's not very good. I would say it's quite underwhelming, just like the other shotguns. However, on maps like Stakeout, for instance, obviously it's going to be very good. Now, one thing I will say about the Maelstrom is I was actually very pleasantly surprised to find out how decent it can be with slugs. And with slugs, you can actually manage it quite well, even on the regular maps, because you just have to keep yourself within like 15 to 20 meters or so, and that's at least manageable in my experience. Now, is it going to be a highly competitive gun in regular modes, even with the slugs? No, not really, but it's at least a lot more usable than I initially thought. Now, of course, those are just my opinions, and I'd love to hear what you guys think about the Maelstrom in those comments down below. And if you guys have missed any of the previous gun guides, I will leave a link to the playlist in the description of the video. If you enjoyed this one, a like rating is always appreciated, and don't forget to subscribe for more if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys next time.